You toil and tumble, you play your games, 'cause I know you don't have what it takes. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. So come and get it. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot. So come and get it. So come and get it. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot. So come and get it. So come and get it. So try your luck. So come and get it. Give me all you got. So come and get it. Only need one shot. So come and get it. So come and get it.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, because here we have another COWZA tournament match for you here today. You're joined by myself, Blue, and my very, very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I like that I'm a guest to your stream. You're busy running it right now. COWZA is the hype, man. Whenever you hear that intro sequence going there, you got to come into this and know exactly where you're at right now. And pretty sure everyone on Twitch knows what this is. It's who we have up for grabs. That's the interesting thing for me here tonight. And it's been a while since I've been here, Blue, so I'm excited.
Honestly, same. I'm sitting here, my hands are sweating, but you know what? We'll get through it together. And all I know is that we've got some good Overwatch to be shown today here for everybody going on. And honestly, Anomaly versus Omni Knights. Omni Knights, I mean, what can we say?
For it. Go for it. Omni Knights is the one that I know the least about, but considering their success in Conquer the Climb recently, they came together as what I love to see in COWZA, the new up-and-coming stars, the names that have not yet cemented themselves as having this long drawn-out reputation as so many other names do have, but people who are showing incredible potential.
Yeah, I mean, a full South African team as well. Like, we're not sure how long they've been together, but like you said, a Conquer the Climb victory, it's put them, it surely is going to give you a bit of confidence. Like, so they've played together for a little while, but one thing I do know is that their opponents are normally, they may have had a few roster changes here and there, but they've got some experience playing with each other as well.
Yeah, the Anomaly side, previously Rage Quit Anomaly, has pretty much linked together, and these are names that where we say they've earned their reputation, they've earned that history that follows them. Kuragari, one of the most renowned hitscan DPSs that we've seen in a long time, and they have earned that Widowmaker picture very well, in my opinion. We're going to definitely see that come out, and typically is one of the weirdest Widowmakers because we'll actually get 2 steps away from your back line or some weird off angle and then click everyone's heads. And Super BH, we were chatting about it before the stream started, very close to my heart. If anyone has known me for a while, one of my ex-students, someone who actually led the charge as tank of my school Overwatch team, and is now making it on the pro scene, doing a phenomenal job of it, super aggressive, and the aggression enabled by these 2 support players, Risen and John Wack.
Yeah, I mean, the backline is just confident. The comfort heroes being shown on screen. And I saw what you did there with the super aggression film. I like that. I saw it, I heard it, and I respected it a lot. Well, we've got bans coming as well. So let's talk about that. Anomaly have banned D.Va for map 1 being Oasis. Also picked by Anomaly. So do you think that might be a slight pick away from it's Jinxie's D.Va? I think maybe.
I think Jinxie is going to suffer more than Super BH will. Super BH is, D.Va is one of the most potent tanks, has been for many, many seasons at this stage. And on your control points like this, especially something like Oasis, where you've got so much high ground, so much peel potential or requirements for your tank, to be able to get your diva out of the way right now, Super BH is going to want to brawl, going to want to dive in there, thinking the hazard, thinking the Junker Queens, etc. On the other side, taking out Risen's Ana is a way that you can now mitigate so much of that Super BH aggression. So I really like this. Two very smart bans coming out here, and I think both teams are going to have to adjust their playstyle around the loss of what could have been a core part of what they wanted to bring into this.
I was going to say, like, Risen's Ana is very well known. Could probably play it in the brawl, could probably play it in the dive. I think as comfortable as a ban the Omni Knights could get away with for a map 1 to try and roll their momentum from that Conquer the Climb into this ACGL tournament. And honestly, I'm liking what I'm seeing already from the team comps. Two very different styles as well. I don't know if you've clocked onto that.
I mean, I love the fact when two people go for the different styles and normally going to rush through and be a wave taking over the point as they move around. Super BH being able to dive onto the backline, and Omni Knight's gonna need to be careful about where they choose to take this big brawl. Jinxie obviously gonna be able to cover nice angles with the shield and then get the Nemesis form up and start throwing fists, as it were. But needs to time that well, and I think Anomaly going to be poking, prodding from so many different angles. That's such a nice sight line through the archway, and Omni Knights doesn't really have a path forward, a clear way to engage him. Token tries to slide forward, and still Anomaly, they just hold the high ground. Jinxie's started throwing out that Nemesis form, but it's just against the Super BH Monkey, who's kind of picking apart surgically this backline, manages to track down the Juno of flops, and keeps bouncing around, making all the spaces. Anomaly, they really just dismantling this background, slowly, surely, but keeping control of the points, and Omni are without really much of a game plan into this. Finally, we do lose the tank out there, and Anomaly quite systematically take point number 1.
Yeah, the way how Anomaly want to play this is that they want to pick Omni Knights off in their rotations. That's why I respect this Pharah switch from BTS fans so much. Omni Knights need to make sure they're making quick rotations using the Juno speed ring through areas where they can take a nice closed brawl, but Anomaly want to pick them off during the rotation and get as much poke damage in as possible.
I like this aggression from Omni Knights. They got stalled out previously, but they've shown intent to get to the high ground right now. Anomaly, on the other hand, they've completely vacated the spot. They wait, okay, we know where you're running, but we're not going to be there by the time you arrive. And Anomaly, again, now circling or surrounding the enemies, eliminating this backline. They've lost Super BH and BTS Fan. In fact, Omni Knights are stabilized. They got themselves into the nice narrow corridor, being able to fire back, and they've started putting aggression on this point. There's still a couple of Anomaly members that they have to clean up before they can really take control. They have managed to get that and get the percentage turning up, but Anomaly, they're scattered, and Omni Knights remain resolute.
Yeah, so Omni Knights have the better brawl and they have the better sustain. That's why they really, really, really need a pick from Anomaly, which BTS Fan has found. That's really going to open up this fight. If I had to guess, this fight's going to end up pretty quickly. But Anomaly Knights do have rally. It seems potentially they might want to invest this, but they choose to do so.
Yeah.
Is it still winnable?
I think Omni Knights is going to be happy to drag out as much as they can. They've got the percentage of the points, and so as long as they drag it out, and they really are, there's such a nice trade going out here. Normally not wanting to dump too many of their own ultimates because they don't have the possession, and so they don't have enough left in the tank to really push Omni Knights off completely. Still going to be Super BH dropping that monkey form, keeping the fight alive for a long time. And it hasn't given them any percentage. That was always ticking up for Omni Knights, but normally somehow actually coming out the victors at the end of that, and pretty cheaply as well.
Yeah, 2 for 1 on the ult trade. Anomaly only using the Primal Rage, whereas Omni Knight's using both the Annihilation and the Rally. I think that the key ultimate this fight will be Token's Overclock. I think depending on how much value they get from the Overclock compared to BTS Fan's Barrage will be the key.
I mean, are you going to have the space for a Kitsune Rush thrown out at the beginning of the fight? Super BH is managing to pick up one. BTS, though, finds themselves on the side of their own. But it's the Kurogiri Pulse Bomb ending off a quick fight. And normally they had a lot of ults in the bag, and they decided to invest them all early and definitively.
I see. Well, I mean, I wasn't wrong. They used the Fire Barrage, but it looked like it was just a little bit wrong. This is where Omni Knights are going to have to invest. Probably going to see both DPS ults coming at this fight as they need to take the space, which they do so with Meiwaku's holding their Deadeye. Just holding it. See, whoa, you're brave, BTS fan. As John Wack runs up on Meiwaku, and it's Anomaly still taking control of the objective, still finding the picks that they need for their comp to work, making the coordinated dives. Both DPS gone, both supports gone, and it's just Jinxie. Well, Jinxie is no longer standing, and that goes 1-0 to Anomaly.
I am amazed at how well Anomaly is able to drag out these fights and take the engagement when it suits them. We saw it in the first engagement where they just they postured themselves up onto that high ground and then stayed there, taking little pot shots, wearing down the resource of their opponents. Even in that last fight, that Deadeye was hung out for basically the entire duration. And everyone was kind of poking around the back line, just going, is it actually done yet? Farah pokes out and for just a second nearly gets taken down there. And then John Wack even diving in over the end. But Anomaly, they waited 20 seconds before they took that final engagement. They've done such a nice job of scattering and really choosing when and where the fight is going to take place. And Omni Knights responding well in the center, but yet to pick up a point. We go now into round number 2, and very little change, at least on the side of Omni Knights.
Yeah, Omni Knights sticking with the same comp style, but Anomaly is switching from the Winston and Farah to an Echo and a Wrecking Ball. So it's a lot more quick on the hit, but the heavy tanky brawl of Omni Knights. Oh my god! Oh my! Stop!
Meiwaku coming out there with the Cassidy, I mean, has now got more effective range as of a couple of weeks ago. But what a way to pick up a triple kill. They're not the easiest, kind of high-risk, high-reward character. But a great counter out here to Super BH's Wrecking Ball. Certainly going to put more pressure on there. Super BH was the last one left alive at the end of the last fight. Now, already taking damage going in here. Jinxie taking a solid front line, trying to give up some space for the Omni Knights to continue this control of the high ground. Super BH actually going to engage up there and chasing down all the way to the end. Well, an even trade comes out there. Super BH finally gets the man of flops and able to rotate out there, but vacates where the rest of Omni Knights is still taking up this percentage. Omni, they've got to have the numbers advantage, I think, at the end, but Omni at least hold on to, 35, 36%, and Meiwaku's still looking for more kills.
I was going to say, our BTS fans made the Farah swap again, seeing that they're running the same the same brawlier, heavier comp style, tankier comp style. Went, you know what? We need a bit more burst damage on their rotations. I'm switching to Farah instead of Echo, and it's made the instant impact like it did in the first round as well.
I find that BTS on the Farah gives Anomaly a lot more of that chunky starts that they need to a fight. Kurogiri or Super BH will be able to follow up. Even John Wack has been great, and it allows you to poke out without taking the duel against the Cassidy completely on your own. Still, Anomaly, they've utilized that to full efficacy right now. Everyone lighting up the kill board, and systematically, again, I feel like that's a term that we're going to use a lot tonight, is one person at a time just gets turned on by the entire Anomaly squad, and they are Omni Knights is drained of every person one by one.
What Omni Knights need to understand is that they can't take the low ground here. Super BH and BTS fan are going to be controlling this high ground area, and so is Risen. If they are left unattended, then damage will be caused. So what? If I were Omni Knights, I'd be looking to rotate high ground here to try and take it away from them so that I get a clean fight.
Oh,
instead, they walk the low ground, and it's a 1-for-1 trade with the barrage. Juno dead. Super BH rolling around on the objective, rolling through the brig, forces the rally, and B gets used in response by John Wack as they're poking away at the Brigitte, trying to clear out this rally, kill the brig off. stop the Inspire healing to this Ramatra. And now it's cleanup duty. They've seen the amount of percentage they have left. That's why the Annihilation's been popped.
Right.
The Juno's back though. Juno nearly has Orbital Ray. This could potentially. Are we near good? It's just a bit of a commentator's curse on that fight, really.
Anomaly had that for so long, though. The fact that they were able to keep one support and the ball on point, and then critically crack through the Brigida, Omni Knights was nearly there when it came to turning that last point, but because they didn't quite cross that little finish line, they end up losing people too late into the fight. That's where we get to see Mayuaki with the triple, I believe. There goes the one, pinning the Farah in the corner, little tweak, and then John White bouncing off the wall, eliminated in midair. Great individual mechanical performance so far from Omni Knights, as we got to see in the Conquer the Climb. But as of yet, 2-0 is not the best start for them.
No, but let's not. All I will say is that we aren't looking at 99 zeros or 100 zeros. We are looking at 100s to 50s, like 100s to 40s. So it proves that there's something there, and it's very clear what Omni Knights want to do. They want to. If that Diva was banned, they wanted to play the Ram comp. Again, I think the Ram comp is a very good comp. I think on Oasis, it's just a bit rough. I think if we went to maybe like a Lijiang Tower, if we were talking maybe a Busan, a little bit more brawl-oriented control maps, I could see this going a lot differently. But fair play to Anomaly. They knew they wanted to play the dive. They knew they had to hit in the rotations, and they did. Simple as that. They knew their game plan, and they stuck to it, so they won.
Yep, and I think the game plan really did come down to, you call it a dive, but it was an interesting variation on it with something like the Farah. When you're not looking at the Farah, they're doing huge amounts of damage over the top, and that was a critical swap point on the second map. And then you had Kurogiri on the ground with that Tracer going in there. Super BH, whether it was the Monkey or the Wrecking Ball, was able to play the keep away game. And I think this is where the ban of the Diva at the beginning by Anomaly was such a good play. Diva has the ability to peel around, mitigate the damage. If there is a Farah in the air, you can start catching a couple of rockets, just keep your team alive for a bit. If someone does take a rocket to the face, you can make sure that Tracer blinking in is getting absolutely nothing for 4 or 5 seconds, and the chance to heal back up. So it was all the layers that Anomaly brought to this game. You talked about the influence of the map, the hero ban at the beginning, the combination of the heroes brought out by Anomaly. Their entire game plan was set from the beginning, and you pointed that out well. Their entire game plan was set from the beginning. We're going to play keep away, and the brawl just didn't work against that.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe maybe something changes in that Omni Knights backline. Potentially, instead of the Juno with only a small speed ring, maybe having a Lucio amp. Get around a little bit quicker on those rotations. That could have been the difference of that first map of Oasis. However, we are now moving into our map 2, picked by Omni Knights. We're looking at Dorado.
Dorado's an interesting one. I like it with the changes to the map after the big map reworks.
Yes.
But it's still gonna have the same dangers, I think. If Anomaly wants to play keep away, Dorado has enough verticality for them to be able to change where they're fighting from at any stage. And this is where maybe, like you say, a Lucio over a Juno gives Omni Knights the adaptability that at every stage they can continue to run. How much they really want to chase after the Anomaly side is still yet to be seen. Maybe they are going to want to standardize their play and kind of like center themselves around the payload a little bit more. And they do say, you know what, we're tired of chasing around your Tracer and the rest of this dive combination. We're just going to fight on points. And Anomaly go, well, the brawl is going to be more difficult to effecate. Okay, interesting. Not sure exactly. Banning the Brig, saying maybe we want to get on top of you right now, and Brig certainly makes diving your backline a little bit easier.
I think the big thing here, for me personally, seeing this Tracer ban, I'm now wondering who's going to take point. Because normally your Tracers duke it out on point, poke each other, try and see who can force out a recall to then execute and follow up on that dive. Brig being in the dive comp, of course, there to provide a bit more sustain, bit more bulk, a bit more inspire healing to your backline and your core. That now not being there, do teams even want to take the dive on Dorado? I know.
No, this is the Kuragari Widow.
Yeah, you know what? I think it might be. I also think now that D.Va is back in the mix for Jinxie, I also think we are less likely to see a BTS fan, Echo, or Pharah. Yeah. I think we're looking at a DPS line of Anomaly coming out on Genji, Widowmaker, which are their two favorite characters according to our information given. Risen being back on Ana is another thing.
Yep.
But honestly, looking at these comps, they're a lot more similar than I thought they'd be. Here I was talking about D.Va being back in the pool. Maybe we're not going to see less Echo and Pharah because there's going to be more high ground that people can access. Instead, we're seeing Omni Knights potentially coming out on this Sojourn Echo, which is a lot of high burst damage to help Jinxie on the dive. But there's no one to follow up. There's no real follow up apart from this Echo.
Yeah.
So it'll be intriguing to see how the Omni Knights handle this attack.
Yeah, you're going to have Jinxie trying to engage right there. Token going to be pressured out of the air by Kuragari, I think. BTS fan and Super BH, even along with John Wack, have got such a nice triple spearhead to dive into the back line and just make life uncomfortable for flops. Long-lived Pain also going to be a little bit tasked to use that cleanse and even the TP quite precisely when it comes into this, when Super BH is going to go over back time and time again, slams onto the tank, and rarely do you see a Hammond getting a tank kill like that. So still, there is a little bit of a trade. Omni Knights with the spawn advantage. And normally you're going to be happy though. They're harassing their opponents, and there's no real way for Omni Knights to get past the Wrecking Ball's presence on this high ground.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was going to mention. Who does kill Wrecking Ball this game? Because
no one.
I have a feeling that if Super BH just rolls around on the objective, they can't actually push it. Token's going to take out Kuragari and Super trades for Jinxie again. BTS fan not having any abilities on this Genji, going to find it a little rough facing an Echo with no deflect to block the stickies, but overall it's looking pretty even. But at the end of the day, it's advantage Anomaly. The cart's not moving.
Yeah. And that's it. Who kills Super BH? No one. I think Omni Knights is trying to kill everyone else around them. You know, get on to Risen, especially being your big pick on the back line. Try to take out Kuragari. The jump onto the back line is there from Jinxie. Finally managing to get some distance out there. Token trying to follow up afterwards, but the synergy isn't there. Token's attempt is a couple of seconds too late. Doesn't have the presence of the gigantic monkey in front of them to take away the attention of their opponents and get no casualties as a result. So Omni Knight has the right idea. The execution just hasn't had the timing that it really requires.
I think right now what Omni Knights need to do is go, hey, we've tried this plan 3 times, let's try something else. They've been trying to take this high ground, this red high ground away from Anomaly. It's not been working. Okay, let's switch things up a bit. We have Kitsune Rush. Let's see if we can sneak bottom left to then use Kitsune, try and get Kitsune Rush on their backline. Or maybe just change the angle of the fight a little bit. Maybe go right side to take the right side high ground. But as of right now, Jinxie jumping main with no one really following up, and not even really farming Nano. It's a bit rough as Super comes in, minefield, finds 2 backlines. Token looked to use duplicate as well. That team fight. Risen sleeping the Echo out of the air. It's done. Fight over. What was that? That was copy for mines, and Super is already back to 40%. It's not looking great.
It's not looking great, and you can see Omni Knight is puzzled. They sat for a couple of seconds, obviously just talking through a strategy. They try to come out there with Super BH a slam on the back line, combined with a minefield. And that was all it took from Anomaly. They've still got so many ultimates left in the bag, and now they can drop several of them into this one. In fact, there's 3 so far, both of the support ultimates. The Genji Blade doesn't get a lot, but certainly takes down everyone running out, and makes them scatter back to their own spawn line. Omni Knights, though, can't find any reprieves. Super BH takes him out. Anomaly, without losing anything, spent a lot in that fight, but they're 30 seconds away from winning this map, or at least the first half, without the payload having gotten around the first corner.
All I'm going to say is, this is your chance. This is your chance, Omni Knights. You have the ult advantage. You just need to not all die to Super BH's minefield. They did the first step. Both Sojourns popping overclock. Kuragari taking out Maiwaku, winning the Sojourn 1v1. Bang! The Echo gone as well. Is there going to be any more for Anomaly? No. And the cart stays at 26 meters and 57 centimeters. Ultra,
That was
the question that we had?
Yeah, go for it.
What was the question that we had at the very beginning of the round?
I think there were a lot of questions. I'm not sure exactly which one you meant, but the answer was all Anomaly. Regardless of what the question was, I think the answer was Anomaly.
You know what? You know what? That actually answers my question really well. I was going to say, who kills the Wrecking Ball? And you know what? I think the answer of Anomaly would have been the best answer. I feel like if Super BH was playing rotations in and out, going very, very cleanly, Risen always being aware enough to know what's going on to keep Super alive. All I'm saying is, Omni Knights, I have faith. I have seen my ranked games get held better than this. Trust me, I have played ranked and had teammates who have failed to push the cart further than this. I believe. I will see an Omni Knights victory on this map.
Your teammates are not Anomaly. That's the problem. Is you're having to hold back Anomaly right now if you're Omni Knights. This was Omni Knights' map pick, and they obviously have awareness. They've got experience on here. But how the heck are you stopping it getting just round that corner? The entire 4-minute duration. Anomaly coming out straight away.
I see a Kuragari Widowmaker.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I would not want to be a Pharaoh right now. Flash shot goes out there, nearly takes it out. Still looking for the long sidelines. Does take a Junkrat, or at least a token rockets to the face. Doesn't even go back to heal up. Doesn't need to right now.
I'm crouching in my seat to not get headshot by this Widowmaker as Super BH slams down on the sleeping Winston. Great rotation from this Anomaly backline, taking the right high ground to clear out this Omni Knights team. And Kuragari eventually finds it. And here it is. The Sojourn's on the point. Kuragari finds another one. Whoa, my goodness. The disrespect. The disrespect. Reverse sweep them, Omni Knights. Hit them with the reserve sweep.
That was tough there for Omni Knights. And it's again not through individual problems. They just had no answer. Who kills the Wrecking Ball? There was no death on the Wrecking Ball. There was just, it had to be up to Super BH messing up. I cannot believe there was actually a mine at the top there that got flops.
You know what? That's just my luck. Just my luck as well. Just my luck. I would somehow find that minefield as well. Doesn't matter where I would be.
Unless you kill Super BH, there wasn't a way through there, but there was no way to kill Super BH without Super BH making the mistake. The only other option was try get onto the back line, but every time you sent anyone sort of distance down there, this is what I was saying the whole time about the way Anomaly is approaching this game. We're going to make it so difficult to get to us. We're going to make it so difficult to track where we are or to adapt your strategy as we move and disappear like smoke from place to place, that there was no way for Omni Knights to ever really pressure the backline. And the longer it takes to pressure the backline, the more time Super BH is going to have wrecking and dismantling your team as you make all these big plays. Wonderful execution from Anomaly and an intimidating team, I think, for anyone to go up against right now.
I'm starting to get a little nervous because obviously there's still a few more games left to be played or in Group 2. Anomaly's next game being one that I am looking forward to next. But all I will say is as much as that brick ban was put in place that last map, one thing that I did notice was that John Wack on the Lucio being that Brigitte presence for Anomaly. Every time Jinxie tried jumping that high ground, a Lucio met with a Lucio boop. Not enough burst damage to kill the Lucio. A speed booster speed Risen on the Ana away. And it was like having a brick suddenly came with skates and a boombox to get you around places faster. And a constant inspire. Honestly, think it's kind of broken. Maybe may need a ban on that one on Knights. I don't know, but we'll see.
And John Wack was doing such a good job of every aspect of the Lucio. Had the ability to dive in and chase down targets when it came to the engage. But like you say, that ability to just sit on the high ground. I love what you say. And considering, I think it's Briggs from Sweden and then Lucio's from South America, you couldn't get more polar opposite or different characters. And yet doing that same role is such a nice awareness in terms of keeping your backline safe. If we need to adapt, we're going to it. I don't know if Risen really felt pressured that entire game, just because John Wack was always there, always happy. And we're really seeing now the difference between the experience of Anomaly and how much they're able to read and come up with these long-term strategies versus the versatility and the youth and the gumption, as a great old world word to pull out there, is you've got the spirits. But when these new challenges are placed in your path, how do you adapt? You sometimes only need several hundred competitive games behind you to really have that answer.
I have to admit, I'm looking forward to seeing how Omni Knights bounce back from this. Obviously, Anomaly has a bit of a reputation. Omni Knights on the come up, looking to take Colosseo as our next map, being a push map as well. Honestly, Fortrism, what's your opinion on push?
I like it. I think it's fun. I'm not a defensive player, okay, but...
Honestly, I just like TWO. I think that's the bot's name. I just think he's funny. I like how he does a butt scratch. Anyway, bans. Where Omni Knights banning Super BH's Junker Queen. Are we shocked?
Terran Lords, actually. And if it was a more renowned Junker Queen player, it would be Super BH. So I'm not surprised at this either way, but Terran Lord is terrifying on Junker Queen.
Honestly, we are on track with the puns today. I am loving it. Anomaly banning the Juno. They went, you know what? With only one speedster allowed in this lobby. If Junker Queen's banned, which is the other one, we'll ban the third, being Juno. Let's keep John Wack on the Lucio, and gotta go fast. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what comps we're going to have as we walk into this, because there's so many ways that you can play it. You can look to play the dive. You can look to play the brawl. You can look to play a poke and play around Kuragari's Widow.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, has not been banned, and we have seen Colosseo and Dorado. Not much of Dorado, but we saw Dorado. So there is
we saw the first 2 meters of Dorado.
25 meters. It was, what was it? It was 26 meters and 47 centimeters, I believe it was. I may have got that completely wrong, but it was roughly that. So, honestly, I would have loved to have seen a Kuragari Widowmaker just thrown out into Dorado, because I think it's funny.
I'm actually surprised we're not seeing it right now. With Anomaly 2-0 up in the series, they only need a single more game to take this all the way home. We've got a couple of minutes on the board. Omni Knights, they've been pushed back, but now is their opportunity to stand firm, turn the tide, and get their first point on the board if they want to have their first sweep. They're taking the Malga.
They have him. It's the Mugawaga. The Mugawaga is fearful. He is fearless. He is him.
It's gonna
as
be
he
tough,
menacingly walks down with his 2 hearts pumping. But as he aggressively takes TWO, as Kuragari nearly loses his head. Oh my goodness. It's a Malga. He's walking, but BTS fan wins the one, and it's now absolute hell on the back line of Omni Knights. BTS fan finding a second. Go on, 5 more. No, Terran's just gonna punch SG flops.
But I mean, that's 4 actually. That's 4 up for BTS fan, because Omni Knights, they just spread themselves too thin. Jinxie got baited in by a little bit, and it was just separation that caused BTS 4 kills in the first fight.
I think ideally, Jinxie needs to play this Malga as an anchor. Sit on the objective, have your supports have LOS of you, as Kuragari's just going to completely deny any fight plan that I seem to come up with for Omni Knights, as he just picks off the highest damaging output character on the other team. Jinxie struggling to stay alive, but playing the anchor on the point though to stop any potential momentum that Omni could have had, but it's still a bit rough. Risen chilling pretty in the back line. Or Meiwaku hiding, sneaking. God, who's going to walk through here? Somebody wants to. I know they do. Who's
I
going to
like
do it?
the change up here from Omni Knights going through to the Ramatra. I think it's a little bit more stable and reliable than the double-hearted Malga.
Both hearts no longer pumping.
Anomaly, on the other hand, now beating like a heart, they're able to separate themselves and get such good distance between each other, but come together when the time is required. BTS fan somehow manages to land a stick on the smallest character model on the field right now, and Anomaly, they're taking their own individual fights and winning them cleanly. Now they get the chance all collapse on this Ramacha. Jinxie at least holding the payload steady for as long as that HP ball lasts out, but staggered out late into this fight, and normally going to be able to reclaim them.
I don't know who Luke is, but evidently there's some friendly banter going on. Honestly, one thing that I do need to say is Anomaly's comp thrives for the chaos. Omni Knights needs a bit more structure to properly form. All I'm saying is though, Terran's looking a little low HP right now. My field put in place, but it does use the Ramatra form change. Nice sleep coming out though from Risen as I'm looking at this Nana OC this fight. Terran. Strike!
Right now, Omni Knights are really struggling to even get into this fight. I mean, they used the Annihilation form and didn't slow down the payload at all. They used themselves a Kitsune Rush, in which case Flops dies a second later after there's just Lord of Terror and Stray Bullet finally finds its target. Anomaly continue the payload progress. TWO just, 10 meters away from the end. Kurogari getting shut down just as that ultimate starts here from Token on the other side. And Token managing to find some stabilization. Takes towards the high ground, just can't get around the corner to confirm the Ana kill, but there is at least some abates to the Anomaly onslaught. So that's actually a dangerous place for the Ana to be staying up there for that long and being pinned down from every side. Finally, Risen going to be taken down, and Omni Knights gets their first bit of progress for this entire map.
Well, they need to get past halfway first to unfortunately get any progress. But I do have good news. Omni Knights have now secured their first team fight win, and it's all momentum from here. I'm looking at this Long Live Pain Lucio beat. It's gonna clutch up a team fight. It's gonna keep people alive. And Kurigari picks off Token. Suzu gets used already. Both DPS gone. John White running up on Meiwaku. And it's Anomaly now running on the backline. There's Jinxie falls, CSG flops, falls, and it's now a race against time for Long Live Plane as Kurigari just shoots them in the head.
Omni Knights, you can see when they realize that they've lost the fight and they get out. I do love that no one dropped ultimates at the end there desperately, especially the sound barrier. But Omni Knights has to win 2 or 3 fights in a row to even start getting something on the board. And normally they came back straight away and they didn't just win the fight, they made sure to hunt down every person that was left. Jinxie goes aggressive, says, you know what, we are tired of fighting this out, gets the Annihilation, chases everyone from Anomaly, but again, it's the wispy nature of Anomaly that's let them disappear into the night and ready to re-engage when it's their time. The poop of the edge says, long live Pain to their death. John Wack claims it. Anomaly once more look to clean out a fight without a casualty. Oh, they will lose John Wack at the end.
I mean, well, John Wack being the Lucio, gonna get back pretty quickly. All I will say is, I was gonna try and make a Lion King reference of "Long Live the Pain," but I couldn't quite get there in time. As we're now walking into the next fight, Jinxie does end up getting slept. I'm looking at this Risen Nano Boost. Who is this going on? Is it a big purple? It is. Onto the Ram. Lucio being the 1 HP. As BTS fan is looking to try and follow up. Kitsune Rush does get used by SG Flops. As BTS fan picks off Long Live Pain. SG Flops trying to keep Token alive on this Sojourn to potentially use this overclock if it's needed. Suzu and Antine gets traded out, but 2 people still get caught. And it's looking even. It's looking even. I think Anomaly are winning.
Yep.
The both supports gone. It's just a Ramatra on point. Enough people there. No more people there. Everybody dead.
as long as Anomaly has someone like John Wack around, they have got control of this. And Omni Knights, they were just being picked off piece by piece. They've got two big DPS ultimates, but they're gonna have to drop them pretty early into this, especially before John Wack can get out the payload. In fact, Anomaly, they decided to not push that at the end. They didn't have the manpower that they really wanted to commit for long enough, and trying to maybe get some sort of sneaky play out there. Waku's ultimate cancelled out by the best sleep of Risen's game. Certainly takes down the High Noon, and now Omni Knights is restricted. Token tried with that overclock as well, but didn't really get too much. John Wack does get punished for overextending, but Anomaly, they just take this when they casually want on a Sunday afternoon right now. BTS fan decides to get out, actually runs around the corner into a waiting opponent, but just casually walks by. And Anomaly, they've decided to re-engage now with a dive in from Lord of Terrans and BTS fan coming round the corner, slam onto the Sojourn, picked out of the air by Kuragari. Kuragari just makes some distance. Omni Knights yet to at least clear their own bridge.
It's a lot of fighting, not a lot of staging, not a lot of planning. I think Anomaly are kind of just going, hey, if you can't push past here, we can't lose. And it's taking Omni Knights everything they have to try and survive. As John Wack doesn't best be to save Risen. You know what? Get yourself a main support like John Wack, because I know a lot of flexible players do not have that. Because also, I was going to make a time-saving joke when Risen slept the Deadeye. I was just, I lost track of time, and unfortunately, it was not meant to be. As Token does pick off BTS fan for the 1-for-1 trade. Again, it's a lot of fighting, not a lot of staging, and Anomaly are just thriving in the chaos. They have 3 characters who are more than happy to contest point, being the Wrecking Ball, the Lucio, and the Tracer. And Omni Knights just need to try and kill all these 3 very scary characters at once to either get the point rolling. Like, all 3 of them are still alive. Like, Omni Knights can't actually push this point, if I'm honest. There you go, look, one person's contesting. They now stop. Somebody else is going to have a go in a minute. Who's next? Is it John Wack or is it going to be Terran?
Exactly, right? And Anomaly's not even looking to push this point out. They're just making sure Omni Knight gets no progress of their own. They're around, they're going to come back. They force Omni Knight to play exceptionally well just to get it back to the static point in the center. And now it's time to re-engage. Anomaly has got Kuragari's ultimate, Risen with that nano boost waiting in the background. Long Live Pain decides to drop the sound barrier just to keep their teammates alive. And they still haven't won the point. In fact, they've lost their Lucio now. Now's the go call for Anomaly, and it's clean-up time for Kuragari.
Well, all I will say is that Anomaly did end up handing over the close spawn advantage that they did have. So there is this small window while they are not pushing point. If anybody gets picked off, they have the long spawn. Give it about 5 seconds, and that's going to change.
Again, Anomaly.
Okay, Anomaly now have the close spawn. No, they don't even need to push it. I think if John Wack comes off the payload here, I think they actually give themselves a bigger advantage. Because it forces Omni Knights to come out. Well, no, it's not quite the chaos that Anomaly want. As Token pops OC, gets slammed up by Terran, Kuragari picks off Token, Minefield gets used, Jinxie falls. They know they have to touch the payload, but there's some exploding balls on the point. It just flops, uses Suzu to try and survive, and it's just over. There isn't anything else that can be done. A 3-0 game. And honestly, it was just a good performance overall.
Yeah.
Great team performance, even with the tank switch, which I know often can derail a team, as we see a Kuragari railgun play of the game. They go, look, I've got ones as well, or Trism, not just you. Bang! Bang! As we see 2. Bang! Nearly 3. Bang! That's going to be 4. And honestly, very, very good performance coming in from Anomaly. I mean, I liked what I saw, I believe. But at the end of the day, there was a clear winner. And it was the team with the experience behind them. Do we think that played a big part?
Obviously, right? I mean, experience is the foundation on which you build everything. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want. You can have as much potential as you want, but you got to put in the hours of practice to be able to execute like this. And this was a team that is not just practiced in terms of their own individual right. This was a team that knew what they wanted to do in terms of the entire metagame. They were playing with their foods. They were the sharks around and corralling the ball of tuna and nipping at the sides whenever they wanted to, whenever they felt peckish. And it was exceptional to see. And you know what? It's very encouraging for me, at least, to see what the Anomaly side is doing. They've always been a team full of potential, and to see them executing like this is amazing. I do feel bad for Omni Knights, but those are the hard yards you kind of got to put in as people new into a very competitive scene like COWZA has right here. And they've got to learn how to deal with a squad that's really showing up on the day like Anomaly did today. Like you said, it's not that Omni Knights lost this game. It's that Anomaly pulled this away from them without any questions or mercy.
Yeah, just swept the rug right out from under their feet and took it home and put it down in their new living room. All I will say is, though, we've got to pick an MVP. That's where I'm at. Because honestly, considering it's a 5v5 game, honestly, I could potentially give this MVP to any 6 Anomaly player that played today. And it's a 5v5 match. 6 Anomaly players are potentially in contention for this MVP award. We have both tank players being Super and Terran. All I will say is, though, not playing all 3 games might hinder that. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I think the DPS line knew exactly what they were doing. BTS fan was making the correct switches when they felt like it was needed. Kurigari was a constant threat on all of those hit scan characters. And then the backline just knew what they were doing, how to best support each other, to give each other the best playmaking opportunities. That's why they're supports and not healers, because they can playmake.
I love that.
I
absolutely love that. Yeah.
Do you have any idea on who you want to give this MVP to? Because I'm looking towards either duo of DPS or supports as a potential MVP.
Yeah, I don't want to give it to the tank right now. I think both Super BH and Terran did a phenomenal job on their side. Jinxie tried their absolute best, but there was just no time to really execute it. That's what a tank is trying to do. And when your entire backline is disappearing despite your best efforts, Jinxie never had the freedom to really go and contest for their space on the other side. So great play by the tank, certainly, of Anomaly, but it does have to come down. Kurigari, great game on both the Tracer and the aerial guys, the Pharah and the Echo. I really like that, but I think it came down to the sports. I would actually love to give it, really, to whoever the in-game leader of Anomaly was. And that tends to be someone like Risen in the background. I think I'm going to wait for Peach to tell me who the captain or the in-game. No, we know Kurigari is the captain, but we don't know who the IGL. So if you guys on Twitch chat do know who the IGL for Anomaly is, I want to give them the MVP award. But other than that, John Wack, I mean, Risen landed a couple of nice grenades and stuff, but it was John Wack kind of providing that defense, that offense, that dive in, kill people, stay alive throughout the whole fight, and still peel back.
Yeah, one thing that I was very, very high on Anomaly's gameplay right from map 1 on that first round of Oasis Gardens was their tempo and when they were striking. Now, which character has good tempo? Funny enough, it's the DJ guy. John Wack on that Lucio, providing the speed boosts, providing that heal boost to soothe any damage coming into that Anomaly team. I think I'm going to... Me personally, I think I'm giving my MVP to John Wack. Consistently protecting Risen. We saw a beat from an Annihilation when the fight was already won to preserve his flex support's death stats. How many main supports are doing that? I'm not. I'm letting my flex support die if I'm on main support. I'm going, nah, that's on you. Nope, not John Wack. I'm popping this beat. Risen, you are staying alive for this team fight, and we are going to look good together. And honestly, I respect it very much so. So my MVP vote goes to John Wack. I apologize for taking that a little bit over. I just felt like we needed a bit of consideration for our speedsters. in the
That was where my vote
community.
was. So yeah, like I think we were in unanimous agreement there. I liked what Risen was doing, but we kind of expect to see it. Everyone did their job so well on Anomaly that they didn't shine. They didn't stand out. They didn't really like light up anything more than what we are used to seeing from them, which just kind of attests to their competency, their consistency and skill. John Wack though just had that flashy performance, really put it on a show for us, and well done to them. In terms of Anomaly now, they go. If we look at the standings, they were 2-0 before they came into this game. They are now tied at 3-0 with Team Nameless in Group 2. So this is a fantastic performance for them. They could not be happier.
Yes, and it does make me a little nervous as a player on Team Nameless. I'll be honest, I was like, they have the same record as us. Like, how good can they really be? I'm not worried, because I think worried implies there's weakness, and I show no weakness because at the end of the day, I can't allow this to influence my opinion when I eventually play against Anomaly. However, I think Group 1 teams need to be worried. I think that with the 2 spots kind of being a lock for Group 2, with 1, if not both, guaranteed 1, if not 2 Group 2 teams coming up to Group 1, Anomaly very possibly being one of those 2 teams to automatically go up. I think Group 1 need to watch this game and go, holy moly, how on earth are we going to handle this? Because they didn't just show a brawl. They showed a competent dive. They knew that they could throw out the pick comps when they need to with Kurigari and Widowmaker. I think people need to be keeping an eye on this Anomaly team. And I think that spans across both groups and all future tournaments that COWZA put on.
Yeah, I like to see that, and you kind of pointed out a really nice point there before we wrap up for the night. We have so often seen Anomaly play the brawl very well, aligned with something like Super BH's Ramatra walking forward, or the Junker Queen of both Super BH and Lord of Terrans. They're very good at getting in your face and smacking it out. But it was really nice to see them flexing onto such a proficient dive, and they're getting very good at it as well. So the diversity of the roster is, like you say, something to be taken note of. I'm very excited to see how it goes, and your Team Nameless versus Team Anomaly is going to be a game I'm going to try and grab hold of.
I really, really hope it's casted, and I really hope that my nerves don't get the better of me, and I don't absolutely poo-poo all over the COWZA stream as I play against Anomaly. That is, if it's even casted. But you'll have to tune in to the next COWZA stream to find out which games are going on next. It's been me, Blue. I've been here with Altruism. Thank you so much for being here, casting alongside with me. Big shout out to Peach as well for doing all the production and talking in our ears when I've potentially said something wrong. Ultimately, have a great evening, everybody. Keep playing Overwatch.